So your Anki still looks like this, and you're wondering why it's so boring to look at. I'm here to tell you how to make your Anki look much more appealing. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Shanaze and I'm back with another video. So if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you're new here and you don't know me, I'm Shanaze. I'm a fourth year medical student and I make videos about life in med school and navigating through university. So as you can tell by the title, this video is going to be a little tour of my Anki and just some tips on how you can make it look much better than the original interface. If you follow me on TikTok, then you will have seen that I've posted 1 or 2 videos about this before, but I thought I'd just put everything together into one YouTube video. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to comment them. And if you find this video useful, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And then of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you get to see all of my future videos. So with that being said, let's get straight into this video. Okay guys, so I've gone ahead and opened up my Anki. So if you've used Anki before, then you'll be familiar with this interface, but if you're new to it and you're not too sure what you're looking at, I'll just quickly run through what it is. This is what I think of as the home page. It's what comes up when you first open up the app. Up here you've got this tab, it says decks, and if you click on decks it basically takes you back to this page here. If you click on add, that allows you to add new cards. So if I click on it, it will come up with a window like this, and then I can choose what type of card I want to make and choose the deck that I want to add it to. So this is what the browse window will look like, and for example I've clicked on my year 3 deck and it will just come up with all of the cards that are in my 3rd year deck. I can edit them or change the card type from here. Going back to the home page, you've got stats. So when you click on stats, this is what it will look like. So it will basically show you the statistics for whichever deck you've selected. It will just show you whether you've got future due cards, how many cards you studied today, how many cards there are in total, and just sort of how well you're doing at answering those cards. So just going back to my homepage in general, so as you can see, my Anki looks a lot different to what the original interface looks like, and I've got quite a few add-ons. I'll split each of them into the add-ons that I use for making cards and then also the add-ons that make it look better. And I'll make sure to put all of the add-on codes on the screen and also in the description box so you can get them really easily. So we'll use my 4th year deck as an example. I like to have a lot of sub decks because it just helps me to navigate it a bit easier. As you can see, I've split it into the placements that I had and then also a pass med ones. That's when I'm doing pass med questions, and then there's just extra bits that I want to make sure that I go over or study before the exam. Within those, I've got each of the specialties that we did. So for example, for MPC, we did neurology. So I've got neuro, orthopedics and palliative care. You can see here I've got one called Spranky, so that's a pre-made deck. So what I did this year is I used a couple of pre-made decks for some of the conditions because it was just so many conditions to go over, so I made sure to use some pre-made ones to make it easier to study. I kind of put them all into one, and then of course if we go into one of the specialties, we can see all of the conditions that I needed to go through. So in terms of the add-ons that I have for my decks, I have the enhanced closed add-on, the image occlusion enhanced add-on, and the multiple choice. I'm back in the browse section and I'm just having a look at the year 4 deck. In one of the columns you can see the card type. So I've got here N2A basic. So for a lot of these it's toggles which I made in Notion and then converted to Anki flashcards. So this is an example of a closed card. It basically allows you to put the information on there and then you can select a word or phrase that you want to occlude, and that will come up on the flashcard. So sometimes when there's a lot of information, it's kind of easier, for me at least, to break it down. So for each of these boxes that you see here, each of them will come up as their own flashcard and I will need to recall what it is. And then I'll show you guys some of the image occlusion cards. So I mostly used those for anatomy. So I'm going back to my 2nd year deck. Actually what it allows you to do is you can take particularly like diagrams which have lots of labels on them. You can cover those labels. So for example, this one is covering the laryngeal inlet, and of course I would need to recall that and then recall each of these labels. The multiple choice one, I'm not really going to show you guys that one because, as I said, I don't really use it. I think I made one question or one flashcard with it and I didn't really ever go back to it, so it's not worth me showing. So going back to my homepage now, we're going to have a look at how I just made it look much nicer than it was. So starting off with the background, for that one I used the custom background and gear icon add-on. That essentially allows you to change the background and change the gear icon, which is what you can see here. So as I click on or hover over each of these decks, there's a little gear, and that's sort of how you can change the settings for each deck. So I changed mine to this little pink flower because it fits the aesthetic, but there's quite a few that you can choose from. I'll just quickly show you how to access that one. So normally you would go to tools and that would show you each of the Anki add-ons that you have, but for this one you actually go onto Anki and then you'll see the custom background and gear icon, and then from there you'll have this window pop up, and that's basically where you can choose which image you want to put. So you can get some random images or you can import your own image, which is what I did, hence why I've got this nice sort of aura background. And then you can also change the gear icon, as I said, so it does come with those imported already, and there's quite a few that you can choose from, or potentially even make your own one. I think there's probably a way to do it using this folder. In terms of the colors, so for that one I used Anki Redesign. If we go to tools and we go to Anki Redesign, this is where you can change the font and just the general color scheme. So as you can see, I've changed my font. So if you do want a custom font, it just depends on what fonts you have downloaded to your laptop. So if you do want a custom one, make sure you download it first and then you should be able to choose it on this list. And then of course you can change the size of the writing as well. The rest of these settings here, I didn't really change them too much. I'm not 100% sure what they do or what changing them will look like, but you can play around with them and just see if you like the difference. So for the rest of these, I can't actually pinpoint what changes the color of which aspect. It kind of does take some playing around with. You can tell by the ones that I've changed to pink or another pastel color that those have had an effect. I kind of just did a pink theme. For some of the flags, I made the colors just a bit more vibrant just for the look. We're going to close that and then we're going to have a look down here. So I've got this events tab. It's quite small. It really helps for when I have exams and I know my exam dates, and it will just add a little countdown to the date. So I'll just use a date in the future as an example. So let's say we've got something on the 15th of September. We'll just put that in. We can name it, you know, back to uni maybe. You'll see it come up there, and then if we close this window and we go back, we'll see the little countdown. So it says 31 days until back to uni, if you're going back to uni on the 15th of September. And then underneath the events, we've got the heat map. You might have seen this one before, but it just allows you to visualize how much you've studied each day and also what your streak is, and then if you have any due cards in the future as well. So I have one more Anki add-on which you may not have noticed, but it's this little bar up here and it's a progress bar. So it basically allows you to visualize how much progress you've made when you're studying a deck. So I did have to double check it was working, hence when you see this one card studied here. But if I go on to my oncology deck, for example, if I click study now, because I've studied one of the cards out of the 132, you can see this little green section come up here. So the more cards that I do, the more it will fill up across the screen. So it's just a cute little extra that I like on my Anki. I'm going to quickly show you how to install an Anki add-on. So it is really simple. So if you want to browse the Anki add-ons, then all you need to do is type it into Google and it should be this first web page here, and this gives you a list of all of the available Anki add-ons. So as you can see, there's a lot to choose from, but let's say we wanted to add Anki Redesign. I'm going to search Redesign, so we can see it's come up here. So we'll just click on it. The main thing you're going to need is the code. Here you will see the add-on code for Anki Redesign is this. So all you need to do is copy it, then you're going to go back to your Anki, and then on Mac you'll go to tools, you'll go to add-ons, and then it will come up with a list of all the add-ons that you have at the moment. If you want to add new ones, you just click get add-ons and then you'll input the code here. So I'm going to input the code. Obviously I already have this Anki add-on, but then you would just press OK, and then it would say successfully installed, and you need to restart the app for it to take effect. Okay guys, so that was just a little tour of my Anki and how I made it look the way it is. If you found this video useful, then definitely give it a thumbs up. Also comment any questions that you have, and also just what else you want to see on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you get to see all of my future videos. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next one.